we're using the wall today, so go ahead and find a space. It doesn't have to be super wide, even like 3 feet or so that the small part of your mat can go right up to the wall. That would work just fine. And then if we're all ready to get started, let's come all the way to laying on our back. And the way that we'll start off using the wall is just place the bottoms of your feet onto the wall and then come to lay all the way down comfortably. And so this is just a beautiful little shape to give our feet just the littlest bit of support. And so from this placement, begin to take a few good deep breaths in and out. Extra support on our feet right now can feel very comforting. It's almost like when how you feel with a warm blanket wrapped around you and how just immediately comforting it feels. That's how our feet feel, having something flat and solid to be up against. Sometimes when we play with inversions, when our feet are dangling up to the sky, it throws our brain into this state of panic because it's like, my feet are not on the ground. I don't feel connection. I don't feel that rootedness. And so that's why this can be just a simple, comforting way to be with the feet right up against the wall for a few moments. Our intention for today has to do with this idea of support, of trusting our weight into something that isn't necessarily us, and realizing that it can hold us up. We can be in a safe, comforted, strong position because of the support. And that's the role that the wall is going to play for us today. And so let's take 4 more deep breaths with feet right up against the wall like this. One more huge breath, deeper than all the rest. And from here, to give us a fun little challenge to help us start warming up our body on this cold morning, we're going to try to do sit-ups to touch our fingers all the way up to the wall and then try to roll back down. If you can't roll up slowly using lots of muscular effort, you can use momentum and throw your arms up. And so from here, reach your arms up overhead, take a huge inhale. And then exhale, lift the arms up, roll up 1 vertebrae at a time. See if you can touch your hands to the wall. And then roll back down 1 vertebrae at a time. And let's do that 4 more times. Inhale and touch. Exhale. Rising up, 3. And down. 2. And 1. And then if you scoot it backwards at all, to let that happen, scoot the bottoms of your feet right up to the wall again. Leave the left foot completely flat as if we're flipping our orientation and we're actually standing on that foot. So it's that similar kind of motion. It's like that foot is in the placement where we would be standing on it. And from there, this right leg lifts straight up to the sky. And we imagine we figure out what do we have to do to keep that leg very solidly grounded and allow this right leg to stretch. Hands can be behind the back of the thigh, behind the back of the calf. Whatever flexibility you're at this early in the morning, helping to just lengthen it and pull it in for a nice chance to stretch out. Drop your left hand to the left hip, and this will help us keep that left hip very solid on the earth. It's a little reminder. With the right hand on the calf or wherever you can reach, let the right leg begin to open up wide to the right. The moment the left hip lifts, that's where we stop. Find a good deep stretch, taking 3 good breaths right here. And then lift this right leg directly back up to the sky. And then lower this foot directly down onto the wall. Once that one's in place, as if we're standing on it, we've got some energy traveling downward. And then from there, left leg begins to lift up to the sky. Same stretch. Hands holding on wherever you can reach. Just giving that hamstring a little moment to open for us. Right hand drops to the right hip as that reminder to stay very much on the earth. Left hand grabs up to the calf or wherever you can reach and begins to open the leg out wide. Foot lifts all the way back up, and then lower it with muscular effort, muscular control, all the way back down. And then from here, we're going to scoot our hips to be closer to the wall. We're finding ourselves in a position where when we put the feet onto the wall and our hips are on the ground, our knees are at a 90-degree angle. So try to find that distance. It's almost like we're sitting in a chair. Hands would be on the floor right next to the hips. And from here, we're going to take bridge poses like this a couple of times. So push your feet into the earth, lift up the tailbone, the hips, and then rising up 1 vertebrae at a time, a really high position for our bridge, and then lowering back down 1 vertebrae at a time. Use the inhale to rise up. Exhale to lower down. Feel how we're starting to engage back muscles that maybe we haven't used in a little while. So here's 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. This last one, stay lifted if you can. Leaving the left foot on the wall. Try to lift the right toes to point upward to the sky. Feel the muscles of that left leg working just a little bit longer. If the right leg can continue to stretch toward your face, take it just a little bit deeper. And then right leg plants onto the wall. Left leg lifts directly up. And then left leg comes closer and closer to the face, a little extra stretch. Good. Lower the hips back down onto the wall. From here, we're going to take a position of a hip opener. So the right ankle will be on the left thigh. If this 90-degree angle is perfect for that, you're welcome to just stay there, even pushing that right knee open. If you want to scoot your glutes just a little bit closer to the wall to make it the tilt of the left knee slightly steeper, that's a way to go just a little bit deeper. So then this right hand can gently push on the right knee, helping the right hip to open up for us. A good breath in, a good exhale, and then we'll switch it out. The right foot plants onto the wall, the left ankle comes up to right side, and then left hand pushes gently on that left knee, helping it open up. Another deep breath into your body. And with that wonderful exhale, we'll release this leg, drop the knees over to the side like a fetal position, and then pressing our way up, we're sitting tall. We're going to have our backs pressed right up against that wall, and we're scooting our glutes as close as possible to the wall. With both legs straight out in front of us, we're in a tall staff position. And so start to feel what your muscles of the core and the muscles of the back have to do to help you remain tall. Perhaps your palms are placed right down by your sides, either in fists or in flat hands, to help you feel this tall position. And feel what this is like. It's as if right now we're trying to create some muscle memory. We're trying to really put this in our body. What does this position feel like? So anytime in the future that I do this away from the wall, I get the same type of sensation. Now either stay right here or maintaining this exact height from the hips to the shoulders. We can begin to try to see if we can increase the angle, leaning slightly forward, imagining that our wall is starting to tilt toward us. So whichever spot you're at, if sitting right up against the wall is enough work already, that's okay, stay. But we're trying to find whatever position we can keep the spine tall at today. Oftentimes we round over at the end. Today we're just experiencing this height. Another good inhale, and then exhale, bring your back right up against the wall again. This time we'll play with cobbler's pose. So bottoms of the feet come together, the knees open out wide. Scoot your feet in as close as they can possibly go today. And then feel yourself pressing the shoulders into the wall so that you feel that very tall height of the body. The low back does kind of go away from the wall just a little bit when we have the true height. That's just the curvature of the spine and what it naturally does. So take a few good breaths, noticing how even just staying tall like this allows the thighs to open quite significantly. So be right there with that stretch. And then from here, once again, we'll play with that option to tilt slightly forward. Again, keeping the spine nice and tall. If you're coming away from the wall, your hands are welcome to kind of prop you up from in front, but feel that muscular engagement, keeping your spine tall. And just see how far forward you can tilt while maintaining that tall spine. Let's take 4 more breaths right here. And then we walk all the way back up. Once we're up, pick one of your knees up, flip it over to the side. That'll make it easier for us to get onto a kneeling position. So from this kneeling position, we're a little bit away from the wall. We'll be touching the wall in just a moment, but take 3 or 4 cat-cow spines. Feel the vertebrae round all the way up to the sky. And then belly down, gazing up. Exhales. And inhales. And then when we come back to a flat plane with our spine, leave the left knee under your body. The right will extend back to touch the wall. So if you're a little bit too close and your leg can't be all the way flat, just scoot slightly forward. Find that good, steady position where you can feel that length. And then from here, we're going to play with the tiger chasing its tail. And so we've got this right leg back touching the wall right now. Left arm goes forward. Feel it as if there's 2 things pulling. So we've got the foot the wall's pulling us that way, and then our hand is being pulled forward. From here, take a brief moment trying to touch that left elbow and right knee underneath you. And then find that good straight long spine again. Take it 3 and 2 and 1. Good. Now dropping this left hand down, we're taking a kneeling half moon position. And so the left toes will start to swivel off that left side of the mat. The left hand goes solidly down under that shoulder. And then as we start to lift this right hand up, square the hips to your side wall. The toes on the wall are pointing to that right side as well. And then the right hand lifts all the way up. And just feel how solid it is to bring the leg exactly level with the hip behind you. One more good steady breath in. And then exhale, drop this hand down, drop this knee down. Second side, left foot touches the wall. Right arm goes forward. So from here, 5 little cycles. Exhale, elbow and knee touch underneath. Inhale, lengthen. And 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. Finding that second side for the half moon. Right hand drops under that shoulder. The hip starts to stack. The toes go immediately sticking out to that left side as the left hand starts to float all the way upward. Feel how this pose is with that extra amount of support right behind us. It's a very different position. It gives us a different type of stability. And take another good inhale. Exhale, we drop this hand down. We scoot ourselves backwards so that when we take a downward facing dog, our heels are somewhat close to the baseboard, maybe an inch or so away, not actually touching it, just staying close. And then play with your downward facing dog for a moment. Lift the hips up as high as possible. Maybe pedal the legs out for a moment. And maybe find that stillness again, lifting the hips super high. From here today, we're walking our hands backwards towards the feet. So take your hands 1 step back, and then another step back, And then gradually just progressively make your way backwards until you're in a forward fold. If you're slightly too close to the wall, your glutes might be pushing you forward, so just step your feet to a good spot where you can have balance as you're in the forward fold. Take another deep inhale, a good exhale, and then inhale, sweep the arms through the sides as we rise all the way up to stand. As your hands touch together up above your head, see if the hands can travel backwards until the fingers touch the wall, just a slight arch. And then straightening up the spine, hands down to the heart. Good. So from here, we're going to take a strengthening position. So we're using the wall like a chair. And so we're sitting our glutes right up to the wall. Our knees are trying to be a 90-degree angle or slightly higher. And then our spine gets put right up against the wall. From here, the hands will go out in front of us. We want to make sure the low back is touching the wall for this one. So have that little tuck of the tailbone scooping under so that our back can be completely flat on the wall. That gives us a little bit more structure of the muscles of the core to work with. And then from here, always know if I'm holding this too long and you start to feel like you're going to lose it, scoot an inch higher up the wall instead. And so finding this good shape, let's take a few breaths using our arms. With our exhale, our hands go down to touch the wall. Inhale, our arms float up so that the backs of the hands are trying to touch the wall. But try to keep that core engagement so you don't have the arch to the spine. And exhale. Inhale. Here's 7. 6. 5. 4. 3. 2. 1. Good. Your quads should be burning right now. So leave the legs at this angle that they're at in front of us, like that 2 feet or so away from the wall. Leave them there. Pushing your hands against the wall. Reset the glutes down. So it's almost like when you're sitting down and you kind of remove the flesh, it does that same type of motion, freeing up the glutes for us. We're leaning forward right now with a straight, tall spine. And then we start to slide our hands down the legs, coming in toward a forward fold. Once you can't keep the spine tall any longer, then this one you are allowed to just round down. Try to ask your body, how much can I release to gravity right here? Is it most helpful to leave the hands on the feet? Hands reaching behind the feet on the floor? Or you could even give your shins a little hug, wrapping around the shin or the thigh, trying to pull your torso closer and closer. As we're coming out, bring your hands back up onto the legs and start walking the hands up the legs. This will support our spine after that deep stretch. Good. Once we're all the way up, push your glutes away from the wall. We're coming back up to stand on our own and turn around and face your wall. We're going to play with Warrior 3, tilting forward and then back up a few times. And so what we, with the first one, we're trying to play with the right placement of our feet to the wall. So that way our fingers are able to touch the wall, but it's not like too soon. So we're gonna be standing on our left foot. Our arms go up by our ears, and this right foot is hovering above the ground, so that way it's free from the ground. And then this first one, the right leg gets kicked back, the hands start to come forward. If you touch the wall too soon before you wanted to, come back up and just scoot back slightly with that left foot and try it again. Ultimately, if you can make it to a 90-degree angle, that's great. If you don't want to go quite to a 90, just be slightly closer to the wall. And then try to smoothly come back up. Let's repeat that 4 times with the right leg floating back. So here's 4. And then smoothly try to come up. 3. And up. 2. And up. 1. And up. Good. Taking the second side right away, stand on the right foot. Left foot is hovering the whole time. And tilt forward to touch the wall. Here's 5. And up. 4. Up. 3. And up. 2. And up. And last one. And up. Good work. Taking a little break from our spine, we come forward to a placement where we can have our hands flat on the wall and then walk your hips back to about a 90-degree angle. If you're rounding in your low back from this, walk a little bit closer and have your hands slightly higher than 90 degrees. So that way you can have a straight line of the legs and a straight line of the spine. So finding that good position. From the straightness, let the abdominal muscles go so that now you have a slight arch to the spine. You're going just slightly closer to a puppy pose. The heart's magnetically drawn toward the earth. Slowing your breath, we feel our body and our breath start to cool down just a little bit. All right, about halfway through the class, so we're still getting our body warm for any of these stretches that are coming up. But just enjoy this chance to be right here. Now from here, we're going to place our left foot directly under our body so that we could lift up our right leg and we would be able to be in balance. So left foot is under our body, right leg kicks back, warrior 3 again. From this supported hand position, we bring that right knee to the nose, our spine rounds up a little bit, and then kick the right leg all the way back. Repeating that 4, and back, 3, 2, and 1. Good, now step the right foot a foot and a half or so in front of the left foot. The right leg is straight. Both heels are all the way on the ground. And we're coming into a pyramid pose. So this version with hands on the wall might be the best. In fact, with this one, it would be easy to lift up the right toes, getting deeper into that right calf. But if anybody wants to walk their hands down the wall or even end up with hands on the floor for this pyramid, that is fine as well, your choice. Good, bending the knees. Gently roll our spine back up to standing. We know that the left foot didn't move, and so it should be exactly the placement that we need. So the right foot steps down to where that left foot is. Leaning forward, we plant our flat hands on the walls. We start to flatten out our spine. And then our left leg kicks back behind us like the warrior 3. Doing that little exercise movement. We curl that left knee to the nose. Here's 5, and then straighten back out. Going for 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Swing that left foot to stand about that 1.5 to 2 feet in front of the right foot. This left leg is very straight, and then we begin to find our position. So maybe we're just lifting those left toes as we try to lean forward nice and straight and steady. Or maybe we're taking the pyramid pose, leaving those toes down, walking the hands a little bit further down the wall, maybe even onto the ground. Bending the knees, roll up to a standing position. After that good hamstring stretch, we're ready for a balancing pose. We're going to stand with our hips up against the wall. We don't want our feet too far forward because that would not be how we would mimic standing up. Rather, our foot is just like 3-4 inches away from the wall. So that way, with our glutes being, further back behind us, when we stand up, this is exactly what it feels like to stand. The wall is just that little bit of extra support. And so from here, bring your weight of your body over the left foot. Your right knee begins to float up. You're either going to clasp your hands behind the back of that right thigh and stretch the right leg forward, or if anybody can wrap peace fingers, so the 2 first fingers around the thumb and around the big toe, and the thumb hooks around. Then you reset the posture tall, shoulders and hips, all 4 of them are against the wall, and we start to extend this right leg forward. Trying to build the muscle memory for this balance. Now, if you're here, this right shoulder naturally wants to pull away from the wall, and it pulls our head away from the wall. So try to plug that back in. The head and as much of the shoulder as you can get back onto the wall tries to return. So 3 more breaths. Good. Drop this foot all the way down after that 3rd one. Setting up for the 2nd side, we're standing on right. The weight of our body is evenly over that right foot. Either bring that left thigh up, clasping around the thigh, or wrap around the left big toe. So that's the left one lifted. And then when you're ready, posture gets set up tall, leg kicks forward, and try to plug that shoulder in as we breathe. Another good breath in. Exhale, drop this leg all the way down. Good, shake it out for a moment. Okay, so this next supported forward fold can get extremely deep, and I love it for that because it's almost like the wall is helping to push me into more of a compressed forward fold shape. But know that if it's too much, play with your feet being further or closer to the wall so that you find a place where you're in balance, you're not gonna fall, but you still feel the wall helping you with the stretch. So I usually start off with my feet a full 2 feet away from the wall, and I'm turning to face the wall. And then from here, I swing my head to one side, and then I try to place the back of my head and even my upper back against the shoulders. So this is one version right here. This is where it's a little bit more gentle because you're slightly further away from the wall. It gives you a little bit more space in your back. If you want to walk your feet just a little bit closer, that is an option. It's like a difficult place to play with because coming closer isn't always the best to get you into the deepest stretch, but it is a different experience. Either way, whether the feet are closer or further, the big thing we're wanting to feel is more and more of our back that surface area of the back touching against the wall. The hands are here to support us so that it doesn't feel like gravity is making it too intense. It's just the right amount of releasing down. And so we've got as much of the surface area of our back against the wall as we can. And sometimes if you're pretty flexible, again, that might mean walk your feet slightly further back so that you can get your back even more flat against the wall. So find that perfect spot. And then here we take a few more good breaths. Another huge inhale, a good exhale, and then we're gradually going to wind ourselves back out. So significantly bend the knees, start to swing your head off to the side, and then just very gently roll your way up to standing so you don't get lightheaded. Good. If you even need a few more breaths, lean up against the wall for a second. And then from here, we're going to take a downward facing dog. So our heels are, again, just maybe an inch or so away from the baseboard. It's all pretty close right up to it. We start to roll into a forward fold. We make our way until fingers can touch the ground, and then our hands continue to walk forward into downward facing dog. From here, we leave the left foot down. We pick up the right leg, lifting it high, and catch the toes on the wall. So from here, this is the next pose that we're playing with, this standing split variation. And so from here, if you need to make this easier, continue to hop your bottom foot and the hands further away from the wall. That'll make the angle nicer. Or if you're wanting to go deeper, walk your hands closer to the wall, scoot the toes on the wall higher up, even scoot back the bottom foot until it is up against the baseboard. You try to choose just the perfect amount. Now, if either leg has to bend, try to not let it be this left one. Try to keep that left leg as straight as it possibly can stay. Now, depending on your upper body strength, you might want to drop down before I do. So always know, no matter where we're at, when we're ready to drop down, we're going to go into a child's pose before the second side. And I'll guide us all into the second side together. So if you're still up here, standing split, let's take 3 more good breaths. And after that third breath, we all drop down for a moment with a child pose. You can even roll your wrists out in the child pose. Okay, when you feel ready for the second side, come back up to the downward facing dog. Leave the right heel down. This time left toes catch up high onto the wall. And again, play with going slightly closer to the wall or slightly further. Just find that perfect placement where you get a really good stretch. We're not trying to let the hips open up to the side. Rather, we're trying to keep the hips squared down to the ground as much as we physically can. Our focus is trying to straighten through that right leg this time. If you're still with me, let's take 3 more good breaths. And after that third breath, make your way back down to the child pose. gonna take one more strong position, and then the rest of our poses will start to help us cool down the body and slow down, eventually preparing for our Shavasana. This one does require a bit of shoulder strength. So if you start to get into it and you don't feel very steady, the option that I'll offer for you instead is to turn around facing the wall and just play with kicking up toward a handstand. You may or may not get your feet anywhere close to the wall, but that'll be your easier variation, just gradually, just playing, 3 or 4 times of each leg kicking. So if you're taking the pose with me, what we're going to do is plant our hands. My hands are a good, I'd say 3.5, 4 feet away, depending on how tall you are. Plant your hands onto the ground. They're only about as wide as your shoulders. From there, we start to lift our feet up to the wall. At first it's high, because then we start to walk our feet down into about a 90-degree angle. If you're not forming that 90-degree angle, you'll want to walk your hands slightly closer or slightly further until it just feels right, with your hips close to being over your shoulders. And then from there, all you have to do is just play with one foot lifting up to the sky for a moment. Feel how it feels to bring the weight of your leg right over your body. And then bring that foot down, play with the second side. And you'll do each leg 3 or 4 times. If handstand is close to your practice, maybe you try a moment with both legs trying to float. And just take another 3 or 4 breaths, whatever you're doing. And then eventually we'll all end up in a nice child pose once more. When we rise up, we're going to use the wall to help us take camel pose. Oftentimes when people take camel pose, I notice that in order for them to reach their heels, they start leaning super far back like this. But camel pose is actually about the hips pushing forward and then the rest of the spine taking as much of the back bend as the spine wants to take. And so we're going to use the wall to help us take a safe amount for this. So we're kneeling down, facing the wall. We're put pretty much right up to the wall. Maybe our knees are 2 inches away from the wall. Our toes are tucked down. And as we start to go into it, we push our hips to touch right up against the wall. And this stays glued now, so we don't let ourselves come away from the wall again. From here, our hands go to the low back, leaving the hips touching the wall. We start to arch the spine up and back. And if you feel like you can drop one hand down to a heel, or maybe both hands down, leaving the hips to touch the wall, those are fine. You can leave the chin up if that's what the neck feels best with, or you can let the neck rest onto that little pillow that the shoulders make. Either way, let's go 2 more breaths on this. And then to come out, hands go to the low back. We start to rise up. Good. Turning around to face away from the wall. Leave your left foot by the wall. The right foot comes to plant in front of you. And then set this right leg up like a pigeon pose. So the toes go all the way to the left side and the knee goes off to the right side. So it's like this weird crossed position. And then from here, plant your hands on the floor, lift your left toes up, and start scooting your left knee closer to the wall. This will get the toes to go higher and higher up, maybe to the point where the knee gets all the way up to the wall. If that already feels like too much for the knee, be a little bit further away from the wall. The left knee is set up close to the wall. The right knee, as soon as we've got the back leg set up, the right knee starts to scoot forward. And this immediately brings you into that really good left quad stretch. And so from here, you've got a few options. If you stay lifted up on your hands, this is actually deeper. Then dropping down to your elbows. Elbows takes the intensity out of the quad just a little bit. So you have this option to drop down if you need to. Maybe you stay with staying lifted, or maybe you even come higher up, walking your hands up to the thigh, arching the spine even further back. You feel the quad stretch deeper. Maybe one hand or both hands goes to that back leg, and then you push the toes back to be up against the wall. So just choose your option. We've got 3 more breaths on this side. And then to come out, we're going to scoot that left knee forward just a little bit until we can come kneeling. Uncross this right knee and we'll switch sides. So now it's the right foot that's close to the wall. The left foot plants, and then we take it into the pigeon pose shape. Left toes over to the right side until that left knee can drop down. The right toes point, and we start to scoot our way backwards so that the right toes can climb up the wall, any amount. Maybe the knee goes all the way up to the wall, maybe not quite. The left knee starts to scoot forward as deep as it wants to go. And then again, we've got those options. Are we dropping down to elbows on this side? Are we staying up on hands? Or are we climbing even deeper, getting our back close to the foot? Another good inhale. And then exhale, take your time, working your way back out of this. And we'll take these last few minutes before Shavasana, playing with legs up the wall. So what we're going to do is scoot our glute all the way up to touch the wall while you're facing sideways. So that way, when you swing the legs up the wall, your low back is already, and your glutes are already as close to the wall as they can get, pretty much. Now, if you're in this position, kind of like the staff pose, if you're in this position and your hips are lifting off the ground because the stretch is a little bit too much for your hamstrings, scoot your back further backwards until your hips can be flat onto the ground. And then from here, take a few good breaths just to breathe with legs upright. And then we're going to play with 2 other legs up the wall positions so that in just another couple of minutes when we're settling into our final Shavasana pose today, you have those options to choose from. So this is option 1 for Shavasana in a little bit. Option 2 would be opening both legs out as wide as you'd like to go. So this could be, like a couple of feet apart from one another if that's what your wall has. If your wall has more space, go further. But this is that second option, letting gravity help to pull our inner thighs into a deep stretch. So take a few breaths here to feel what this version feels like in your body. So this would be option 2 for Shavasana. The last option will all feel right here. This is cobbler's pose with the wall. Bottoms of the feet touch together, the knees open out. The feet can be absolutely your choice for this. They can be higher up. They can be close to the glutes. You could have hands pressing the inner thighs open or not. But just take a moment to experience a good cobbler's pose with the wall. here's where we get to choose our favorite of those 3 options. And we'll finish our Shavasana, these next couple of minutes of class, just breathing to give our body a chance to integrate all the benefits of the practice. So if you like this cobbler's pose, just stay. If you wanted your legs wide, that's great. Or legs back upward, that's also beautiful. And then we give our body a chance to just breathe and relax for these next few minutes together, while our body gets to absorb these beautiful benefits of the inversion, of the blood draining out of our legs, helping that blood to become oxygen rich and helping our feet to relieve some of the blood pressure that's constantly in them. So again, all we have to do is just breathe. Take huge inhales. Wonderful, relaxed exhales. Begin to deepen your inhales and your exhales. Start to introduce little movements back to the fingers and the toes, ankles and wrists. Stretching out like we're waking up with our arms. And eventually start to bend the knees and let your feet rest all the way over into a fetal position on one side. When you're there, enjoy a few extra breaths. It's a really fun sensation, getting blood flowing right back down to the legs. So take an extra 4 or 5 good deep breaths before we come up to a seated place. Eventually, when you do feel ready to rise, we'll make our way all the way up, joining our hands together in front of the heart. Take a moment to feel what that support meant for you today. Perhaps there's a lot of things going on in life right now, and we just need that little bit of extra support. That's something that we can lean onto, not feeling like it's us that has to do everything, that has to hold the weight of the world on the shoulders, knowing that there is something else we can trust our weight into. And with that support, with that hope, with that help to lead us into the rest of this beautiful day, let's all try to wrap up this class together with the sound of Om. Inhaling together now. Om. May we all be filled with light and happiness and peace. Namaste.